Fiction.
Fiction. Fiction.
Fiction.
Fiction.
Never died. She's created an elaborate fictional structure, and she gives us all parts to play in that. Fiction, fiction, fiction.
I said I'm not interested.
But you promised!
Nothing happens. They're fiction. Fiction. Fiction.
But it's fiction. It's fiction. It's fiction.
You're the German chap, the grounded one. The one who helps you distinguish fact from fiction.
I also like science fiction.
Hello? You are going to love my book idea.
Serial killers who devise elaborate death traps are the stuff of pulp fiction.
These 3 pages.
They're paper.
And?
They're fiction.
Getting warmer.
Captain Gates, I can personally vouch.
I am not interested, Mr. Castle, as you specialize in fiction.
That real, and I don't like things or people who present fiction as truth.
Like that. It's like some monster out of a science fiction movie.
I thought you were taking journalism, not science fiction writing.
Friend. Sure, it's fan fiction about him. Joe, help me out here.
Concerning.
Concerning. Concerning. Concerning. Concerning.
We need to ask him a few questions concerning a police investigation. Concerning a police investigation. Concerning a police investigation.
This is Phil Bushy with an update concerning the ongoing manhunt in town. Concerning the ongoing manhunt in town. Concerning the ongoing manhunt in town.
Groups listening for concerning chatter. Concerning chatter. Concerning chatter. I think if you took a close look at what we've been doing.
What can we do for you, Sheriff?
I had a look at the coroner's report concerning your uncle.
Got some interesting news this morning concerning you.
Even outlandish ones concerning artisans capable of constructing war machines.
It's a dossier concerning a man named Farouk Hassad.
Yeah? What about him?
He had an interesting proposal for her concerning her daughters.
You are aware of the rumors concerning you and Renly?
I want my fingerprints, dental records, DNA, criminal records, family tree, everything there is in this world concerning Leonard Snart. I want it destroyed.
It seems His Excellency has made him privy to a scurrilous story concerning Lady Mary and the late Mr. Pamuk.
Jail visitation logs are monitored. Certainly those concerning dirty ex-cops.
Modesty.
Modesty. Modesty.
Modesty.
Modesty.
Never met either.
Again with the false modesty. 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 You're resourceful. Bet you know a guy who knows a guy.
You're modest, you're modest, you're modesty. It's so refreshing.
You know, you're really cute when you're sarcastic.
No, it was Ariel. Now I stopped believing.
Modesty. 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 Ears full of surprises today.
Your false modesty is apparent. You enjoy your work.
He is a hero of mine. He is the 57 Chevy of gambling. But, all modesty aside, I am the Ferrari.
No, don't vote for us.
To the devil with false modesty.
Here, I have to come. I need to use the lavatory, but I shall respect your modesty.
Carved this from the tree? Your mother's idea.
No, actually, it wasn't my idea, but I'm speechless at the modesty.
Claude Lorraine was a genius.
Quite so.
I sense an excess of modesty in Mr. Turner, and there is no need for such humility.
Well, until I buy my shadle.
Shadle. What's that again?
It's a modesty wig. I learned that virtue and modesty would be my path to bliss.
Accomplish.
Accomplish. Accomplish. Accomplish.
Accomplish.
Got it.
Fly the plane.
Don't be ridiculous. It has to be something she can actually accomplish. Accomplish.
A girl on the Clipper Horizon made it happen.
Really?
Riley's taking the bait. Callan is done in 2 hours what easily could have taken 2 years to accomplish. Infiltrate a paranoid extremist group.
Why, then you could go on with your work. Just think of all you could accomplish.
I'm not going to go, so I think that will accomplish the not going.
So I guess that means you can't go out tonight?
Women can accomplish a shocking number of things while sloughing endometrial lining.
It's forbidden from, you know.
I can absolutely tell him that we think he's too young, but I don't think it's going to do any good.
Well, then the least we can do is go search his room, and if we find any more of these, we'll confiscate them.
And that will accomplish what?
Look, I'm sorry he's dead. But I don't even know what the hell not Penny's boat means.
Calling Jack accomplishes nothing.
It would accomplish warning him.
Why are you still here? I mean, when we met, you said you would only be in Berlin for 1 week.
The job I'm on is proving harder to accomplish than I thought.
We've got time.
We are out of time. Semak must be dealt with before he learns the truth.
And the only way you can think to accomplish that is for Alex to die.
Chairman, we tried. His assistant said he was on sabbatical, although we distinctly heard his office window open and shut.
Gentlemen, there's a task I'm trying to accomplish here, and I'm having trouble doing it.
A neophyte such as you wouldn't know these things, but I do. I have other ways to accomplish our goal.
Outline.
Outline. Outline. Outline.
Outline.
Outline to the larger piece.
With questions on the next page.
All right. I'm going to outline a couple of cases here that are very recent.
Why are you bullshitting us?
Mr. Willens would have to agree to no future civil action. All this is outlined in paragraph 6.
Brady's got the outline of every single piece of hardware in here. And at the end of every day, every single piece better match up.
This is about you and how you can best express yourself to the world. There are numerous procedures outlined here, but please don't feel limited to them.
I could only see their dark. The outlines of their bodies. Their dark bodies.
He'd know that he had not been forgotten, even if the outlines of his face grow fuzzier.
There's still a smoke outline of your body hanging in the air out there. Well, we're hoping not to see any balls.
I see the outline of one of them.
I never saw Eddie's. It always had to be pitch black for Eddie. I saw an outline once in a thunderstorm, but just like a rolled up pair of socks.
Really? After all that? You'd be a chalk outline without me.
A commitment list for future legislation. It's not just simple endorsements. Look, this outlines in detail what I would like to do.
Distract.
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 Distract. Distract.
In an hour, but I could push it back if I found something that distracts me.
Wow. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted.
Well, I've got to do it on my own, kind of. You know, and if you're here, you're just gonna distract me. You distract him, okay?
Okay. So I'm thinking, I distract the guards, and you start digging. You got a spoon on you?
Right. There's someone. We'll have to distract Duke Alfonso once you free them all.
I can't believe you tried to kill me.
Yes, well, I feel badly about that. I told you Mrs. Huber came over and I got distracted.
Oh my God.
Okay, don't be distracted by that. Look at me.
No, that's what I always do. Distract myself with meaningless busy work as a way of avoiding my emotions.
scared me. I couldn't find you.
I have a little girl, too. Sometimes I get distracted and wander off.
Minor.
Minor. Minor. Minor.
Minor.
No, he was a minor player.
First, you created a $10,000 monstrosity with Lisa, and now you've poured millions into what was supposed to be a minor diversion. A minor diversion. A minor diversion.
The eyes are often a minor problem because they usually want to stay open.
I don't intend to. You'll do something minor on the fraud.
You're lucky you didn't get 20 years for seducing a minor.
Anyone threatening him, or speaking to him angrily.
Anything about the bride or the groom, anybody threatening anyone, anything causing him any trouble, even something minor.
To get in with Green's organization, Ben was authorized to commit minor crimes to play the role of a criminal.
Into the burning house in an attempt to rescue the majestic cross. Now, those members are being treated at a nearby hospital for minor burns and smoke inhalation.
Is he gonna be okay?
He's fine, minor heart attack. Not good for the ticker eating that much butter.
Do you have children?
No.
Did you ever commit a minor traffic violation?
Yes.
Here she comes. Apart from a DWI and a minor drug charge, they check out. But until we know for sure, everyone's a terrorist.
Romp with Susan Reed, and then he put it online for everyone to see. That's enticing a minor and making and distributing child porn.
Maximum.
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 Hired by the Federal Bureau of Prisons to test the integrity of their maximum security facilities nationwide.
There's longer takes.
Yes, you know, Keanu. 10 minutes was maximum.
What will you take?
6 years, the maximum.
1 year, 2 years probation.
No.
You go for 3 weeks to Statesville first. It's a maximum security prison. That's where DOC will classify you either as minimum, medium, or maximum.
Counselor Abigail Griffin, you're under arrest for exceeding the maximum medical supplies allowed per patient.
It's awesome. Everything's maximum interesting.
If I keep digging, who knows what will turn up.
If Kramer digs up these things,
Neil could get the maximum
he could go back to prison.
for a long, long time.
He kept touching things.
If you don't want your equipment modified for maximum accuracy...
If we don't.
A woman whose only pleasures in life come from sex, TV cooking shows, and drawing maximum benefits from the welfare state. Hundreds a week.
Arrests, traumatized.
Has to be support groups for kids who've seen shit like that.
Yeah, in maximum security prisons after they've mowed down half their class.
Ample.
Ample. Ample.
Ample.
Ample.
I'm sure Caitlin and I will provide ample support, Barry.
And I will be happy to sit this one out.
Instead, I paid a visit to the fairies. Or rather, a visit to their ample supply of magic. Ample supply of magic. Ample supply of magic.
I promise there will be ample time to go over the information you have prepared. But...
He had ample opportunity to do us real damage, and he didn't.
Well, I know enough to know that Okie retard had an awful long time in that bathroom with little old me before your ass showed up.
I wouldn't jeopardize such a valuable asset as yourself without ample reason.
To show your photograph around the bar. There was an ample selection of snapshots to choose from on your profile. We opted to...
So Jarvis would have had ample opportunity to tamper with the smoker.
Seems like a man worth...
Burned beyond any recognition, with ample evidence that Oliver and Thea Queen had been killed in some horrible accident.
Violence.
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 Violence will not be tolerated. What Barbie did is not who we are, even now, especially now.
Men like you
are my specialty, you know. Men of violence, men of violence, men of violence.
Shit, what do you think? I think violence begets violence.
There's no correlation in the literature between transsexualism and violence. Transsexuals are very passive.
Have a go.
Normally, I abhor violence, but this seemed too good to miss.
Violence erupted in the city center tonight, the third incident in as many days. Martial law.
With the violence that we have now, it is very important.
Homeless services. I mean, he's schizophrenic, but with no history of aggression or violence.
He's a teacher who's aggressive, competitive, and prone to violence.
Served under a captain who uses violence to achieve an end, to terrorize, to advertise.
Our hearts are filled with violence.
Infect.
Infect. Infect. Infect. Infect.
Jesus, Cooper, do you have pink eye? Go home. You're going to infect everybody. Infect everybody. Infect everybody.
Told you.
You wanted to know what I think. This is what I think. You are all going to infect each other. Infect each other. Infect each other.
Simon produced over 40 pounds of weaponized anthrax. That's enough to infect 500,000 people. Infect 500,000 people. Infect 500,000 people.
We've lost entire cities.
When there's no more people left to infect, they go dormant. Whole cities are lost. The World Health Organization reports today.
For some idiot to infect themselves with a lethal pathogen and then...
Today.
I don't know. I guess so. Why?
The grounders sent him here with a virus to infect us. And I knew it was the anthrax you told me about.
Then what happened?
He wanted to infect the cows so that their milk would infect anyone who drank it.
He was leaving nothing a chance. He wants to infect as many people as possible. No, we have to stop him.
Need him. I mean, we're right on the verge here.
That man tried to infect this entire ship.
What's this whole human guinea pig thing gonna look like? I mean, basically, you infect the crew with the virus, you see what happens.
Yeah, but we don't want another New Orleans on our
They're not looking for a shoot 'em up this time. They're trucking in the sick to infect the crowd, create a panic so that no one ever answers our call again.
In a few hours, the recombinant virus inside those eggs will be strong enough to infect 1/4 of this town.
Tops.
There's a zombie movie scale.
Yo, did you know that zombies exist in nature? There's a species of fungi that infects ants, causing the ants to attack plants that can release spores, which in turn infect new hosts.
Ambition. Ambition. Ambition.
Ambition.
Ambition.
Accepting of me, the things I love, the ambition, the ambition, the ambition, what I aspire to be.
You knew me better than I know myself. You knew my dreams and my ambitions. 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 Please don't tell me you're in love with someone else.
The vision could actually benefit you, me.
Chris, I appreciate your ambition. I really do.
Like, there's always going to be something more that your ambition is telling you that you need.
This one's my favorite.
It's about ambition.
Not approve of Gizamot. But his ambition and greed serve my interests well.
I guess I'm gonna have to look for another rabbinical school. One that respects my ambition, one that recognizes my talent.
Yes, our loss. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I guess you should know. I've always wanted to...
Be in porn. Every caterer does.
Well, I think I could be great.
Look, I respect your ambition.
After I died, I began to surrender the parts of myself that were no longer necessary. My desires, beliefs, ambitions, doubts, every trace of my humanity was discarded.
We have history club today. Those kids need.
There are 5 students in history club, Linus. They'll live.
Shouldn't we be encouraging the ones with ambition?
Doesn't have to escape me. I only want what's best for her.
I made the mistake of underestimating your ambition once. I won't do it again. No. No, it's like trying to explain alpha behavior to a lap dog. Because that's what you've been acting like. No ambition, no vision, no master plan.
Vocation.
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 A way of learning about all different kinds of people. And what's your vocation?
My vocation. I've done lots of different jobs.
I always thought you'd end up a writer like your old man.
So what Ivy League school are you hiding at, Doug?
Doug did not follow in the family vocation. He's, I bounce.
No, I don't mean because of your vocation. I mean because you're a decent young man, and there are not many of those who make their way into Fox River.
What was his problem?
He chose a vocation that did not choose him.
The sheer audacity of this fresh, brave voice of the culinary scene reminded me why I write about food as a vocation.
As your sponsee, but as a friend and colleague whose vocation creates certain overlapping interests. Mark. But if I'm honest, I'm quite glad that he did. Life is so much better with a vocation, don't you think? Speaking of which...
Internet journalist was his vocation of choice. Only started driving for Zeus a couple of months ago.
Not murderers.
The frequency of overlap between those two vocations might surprise you.
But as I predicted, a good number of the crew have defected upon learning of their new vocation.
Dignity.
Dignity.
Dignity. Dignity.
Dignity.
And no more. Tonight we take back our dignity.
It's better than here. I'm offering you a way to wrap up your affairs with dignity.
No one's ever treated me like you have. No one's ever shown me this kind of dignity and respect.
Crooked.
You do know I've got a GPS tracker on me, right?
Have some dignity, for God's sakes. I love the smell in here. Reminds me of interning on Wall Street. You know, minus the dignity in the future. He said some really hurtful things to me. I'd rather stay here and work for Oleg and Alexis. At least I'll have my dignity.
The gods wanted us to have dignity. They wouldn't make us fart when we died.
Let me have him brought to the temple and buried with dignity so that he might find peace in the next world.
Enough. We'll go back to my chambers and speak with some dignity.
I can't go back.
And what happens to your people? You preserve your dignity and die standing.
If he can't swallow...
You know as well as I do that a feeding tube is psychologically devastating. It takes away a man's dignity.
So does dying.
Adoption. Adoption. Adoption.
Adoption. Adoption.
Bottoms out. She starts bawling about the baby that she gave up for adoption. She disappears below deck.
I was given up for adoption when I was born. Angelo knew I always wanted to find out where I came from.
And that file had your adoption papers. With your birth parents' names.
I nodded and called an adoption agency. When your father ran off with that waitress.
I'm guessing they'll think adoption.
You're risking your career here.
I'm talking about before. When she gave that baby up for adoption.
Cinda told you about that?
Why not? Because of Katie. Her adoption wasn't legal, and if it comes out, we'll lose her.
You know, we already have adoption days every Saturday. Tell your friends.
But the only people who can help us fill those blanks are the biological parents.
But it was closed adoption. There's no way to contact them.
Sydney, grab a pencil. There's an adoption agency in Boston on Dartmouth Street.
Say again?
This is a closed adoption, which means you'll never be able to contact your child's birth parents.
Congratulations. Your adoption is finalized. She's all yours.
Liquid.
Liquid.
Liquid. Liquid.
Liquid.
And turn it into a protein liquid. We build a scaffolding to hold the liquid, then we cook it in an incubator to let it grow.
What is happening?
Oh God, is there gluten in this? Gluten, it's a liquid. So, soy sauce is a liquid and it has gluten in it.
No. The CO2
Freezes the liquid, freezes the liquid, freezes the liquid, crystallizing it.
Yeah, I know. So how long?
Well, if we had a freezer, the condensed liquid would cool more quickly because, of course, this is an exothermic reaction.
You gotta be kidding. When Jackie fell on her head during cheerleading, she was on a liquid diet for days.
Please, it's really important. Look, I'd love to help you out, but I'm not very liquid right now.
Hey, Leslie.
Careful, Leonard. Liquid nitrogen, 320 degrees below zero.
Oxygenate him better, and then hopefully he'll get stronger. We could use liquid ventilation. Here I am.
The dragon. The liquid in the bottle, it worked.
It cured me, August.
Not exactly, but it is a liquid that can conjure courage, give strength, or even act as a love potion of sorts.
Acceptance.
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 It's just a cough. It hurts, but it's not the end of the world.
Fifth stage. Acceptance. Acceptance. Acceptance.
Yeah, right.
It did. And I never looked back. I felt acceptance, 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 and real love.
Mom, I've been through all of your stages, okay? I'm already at the fifth and final stage. Acceptance, acceptance, acceptance.
But, you know, that's Bernie. He liked to make people smile. He wanted friends. Acceptance, I guess, what you call it.
That comes fear. What's after fear? What's after fear? Bargaining. Doc, you gotta get me out of this. I'll make it worth your while. Finally, acceptance. Well...
A gentle acceptance is more than Oscar could have hoped for.
Well, none, probably. So your acceptance of this challenge, if you decide to accept it.
This is what I love about coming into homes like this. It's the acceptance.
Denial is the first stage of grief, my brother. The last, acceptance.
And of course, I can't mention you in my Nobel acceptance speech, but when I get around to writing my memoirs, you can expect a very effusive footnote and perhaps a signed copy.
Actually, as the newest member of your social group, I believe I'll gain more acceptance by arbitrarily siding with your friends from time to time.
That doesn't mean you might not someday build a gewgaw or a thingamabob that may get you a thank you in someone else's Nobel Prize acceptance speech.
It's Christmas, the season of joy and acceptance, and I'm just going to accept that I didn't get the solo.
I denounce thee for giving people ambitions they cannot fulfill, and I denounce thee for positing a world where social acceptance and walking on heels are easy.
Solidarity.
Solidarity.
Solidarity. Solidarity.
Solidarity.
Point. Solidarity is the most important thing here.
With the same courage and solidarity that we showed today. Thank you all.
We're fine. But if you're looking for solidarity, I would be more than happy to skip Owen Hunt's trauma certification lab.
In 1990, Kozlovsky and his 10th Mountain Brigade in the Black Caucasus went into Warsaw and executed known allies of the Solidarity movement.
Solidarity also has a role in this liquid immensity, 4,000 meters deep.
What's Kratom?
Us. Group name, Solidarity. Band of Brothers.
Some weird cross-generational female solidarity with Cuddy.
Next few weeks. So, I'd like you all to commit to not drinking too, in solidarity, like school children.
I appreciate the solidarity, Tom.
There's nothing to do with you, Arthur, believe me.
She was very reckless. Maybe someone got her.
I doubt it. Damn vampire solidarity.
A working mother needs solidarity, and we know where we rank in likability.
Solidarity. If we throw away our solidarity, we throw away our strength. Correct?
Yes, boss.
Curious.
Curious.
Curious. Curious.
Curious.
This is good.
So I'm just curious about what happens at the purity ball tonight.
You slept with my mother.
You're capable of it.
I was mildly curious.
She looked like a young Debbie Harry. I was drunk and curious. I just couldn't.
You did stop looking.
Yeah, after about an hour.
Okay, well, it's perfectly normal to be curious about these things.
It is curious.
Like a mafia social club?
Yeah, the Italian social club out on Union Avenue. I was curious, you know, so I.
We got your lab results back today, Ethan. I was actually pretty curious myself. And as it turns out, looks like the treatment's having a positive effect on you.
The last thing she delivered was me, and I'm still cleaning up that mess. Aren't you at least curious what she sent? Unless it's a brand new childhood, I'm not interested.
Come, I've heard you're such a clever man. I'm curious why you sought me out.
Yeah, why am I here?
What?
You pushed to have me back. I am curious why, because you don't seem to want me here.
Must be a curious tale.
What?
Well, how a knight of the round table ended up a sword for hire.
We were just told to plug it in. They would take care of the rest, but I've always been the curious type.
So, who's this new Renee? I'm curious.
Rack.
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 Your last present is on a towel rack in the bathroom. Delve into our facilities. Emerge a star.
Our hat rack fell through the window. Well, we do have a hat rack. We thought it would force us to wear our hats more.
Hello. Yeah, you're beautiful. Your size is on that rack. It's on that rack. It's on that rack.
Oh, no, we're not looking for a dress.
Okay, there's a knife rack directly to your right.
What are you doing?
This rack just moved.
I just saw two hobos fighting over a rack of lamb.
So while the top rack's being fired, the rack below that one can be loaded. And the rack below that one is allowed to cool.
Paul, don't rack your brain. I'm not asking you to get involved.
In a Ferrari full of flight attendants?
Yeah, he's probably trying to rack up his frequent flyer miles.
Get over.
You know the rule. Turn your back on the rack, you're under attack.
Here we go. Pills and spices.
You have a spice rack full of pills? You gotta cook me dinner sometime.
Clean glass is coming through.
Nice rack. Now I know why guys like saying that to me.
At first, it's a blast. Buying a dish rack, hanging a sheet up to turn one room into two.
Booth says I shouldn't trust you.
And why is that?
But he says you like to rack him up.
Rack him up. How vulgar.
Influential.
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 Dean on who you guys were. He didn't know that you were the heads of four very influential East Coast families.
Her father is a very powerful, very influential man. The influential man.
Well, think about it, Castle. Matilda King is the most influential person in fashion, and Ella had direct access to her world.
And works inside the Imperial Palace.
These two, sir. Most influential, I'd say, Vice Minister Secchia.
Call his office.
How influential is his family?
Very.
It's not every day we get the chance to sit down with members of such an influential family.
Targeted. Shang is a kingmaker. He's extremely influential in shaping his government's economic policy.
Pro, which means he may strike again, and I am not going to lose one of the world's most influential men on my watch.
No. The Thon bloodline is chock full of influential politicians, scientists, captains of industry failures.
Italy's most powerful, influential family of all time.
Liable.
Liable. Liable. Liable. Liable.
Herself or someone else. I mean, I'm no lawyer, but wouldn't the hospital be liable? Liable? Liable?
He's a dangerous guy. Now I've warned you. If anything happens to her, you're liable. You're liable. You're liable.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the perfect legal trap. They're liable because the religion wouldn't let them act.
It's a relief for them, isn't it? The hospital isn't liable anymore, I am.
Well, things are liable to get a whole lot rougher.
Besides, he holds a grudge. He's liable to blackmail me and bail him out.
Hey, you keep your wife out here, someone's liable to steal her.
Oh, you promise? See you inside.
Hey, Lila, come on! Lila, they have our credit card. We're liable for the damages.
Arrhythmia, muscle tremors, and yes, mental changes. If his heart doesn't rupture, he's liable to rip it out and give it away.
Guys, if the truth about the defect came out, then Modesto would be liable for hundreds of millions of dollars in damages.
He knew they'd stop at nothing to get it back.
Get that hose over to the north face and we're liable to lose the whole block!
Hey, be careful. There's liable to be aftershocks. Oh, I'm counting on it.
Keep my promises.
Keep on lying like that. You're liable to get struck by lightning again. Get up to the lab. Start processing the evidence from the gun store.
Standpoint.
Standpoint. Standpoint. Standpoint. Standpoint.
Reevaluate what we have from the standpoint of everything, from the standpoint of everything, from the standpoint of everything was done on purpose.
From a military standpoint, Lexi's a known threat that should be eliminated.
Now, maybe that doesn't play well from a public relations standpoint, but from a public safety standpoint, a Bruzy and a Polskus were by the book.
5 billion of us, we're like ants. I mean, do we care what ants do? You know, from a moral standpoint?
From a budgetary standpoint, I don't see how Mr. Wayland has enough to offer us that would warrant sponsorship or anything of the sort.
And then that allows us to overlay the two camera systems, if you imagine, from a physical standpoint.
So you like this?
Look, I'm a numbers guy. You're the artist, Ray. You know, from a financial standpoint, I like it. Yes, I like it very much.
I'm scared, Hal. I mean, Paula said the reason Howard is leaving Global Innovations is that he's not comfortable with, you know, some of the business practices from a legal standpoint.
God allows evil to exist because of free will. From the Christian standpoint, God tolerates evil in this world on a temporary basis, so that one day those who choose to love him freely...
Everything okay?
Evidently Tuesday and Thursday look the same from a lip reading standpoint.
I'm sorry, but from a forensic linguistic standpoint, these threats are quite fascinating.
Upon reflection, it's just as well. From a storytelling standpoint, I mean, do not let this guy poke you, then the acupuncturist stabs her with a giant needle. It's just...
Passive.
Passive. Passive. Passive. Passive.
A little passive-aggressive.
So what part of this is passive?
You keep speaking in the passive tense, but, you know, we do things.
There's no correlation in the literature between transsexualism and violence. Transsexuals are very passive.
Have a go.
Well, Zoe's mother raised her to be a pacifist.
Hitting a classmate in the face is hardly a passive response. Passive response.
I don't even know what he's gonna think or what he's gonna say. I just feel like I've got to stop feeling so passive about things, you know?
And as for the candy, you know, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Oh, there you go with your passive-aggressive stuff again.
The passive voice.
Word choice, repetition, and the use of passive or active voice can tell you a lot about the person who wrote this.
I'm talking about top of the line, none of this cheap, passive WIC system bullshit.
I mean that sincerely, not passive-aggressively, as in it's a good attribute for a spy to...
About this later?
No, I need you now.
Wouldn't you prefer to socialize with Tom, who is a sexually passive outdoorsman?
Constructive.
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 Is to make that revolution, that change, peaceful and constructive for all, and constructive for all, and constructive for all.
Mona, can we talk about this? I think we need to be constructive, and I know what I've done is really stupid,
and now he won't do the dance, and it was very constructive for him, and you ruined it.
There's only one way to get him to show.
Each other, and we can give each other advice and constructive criticism to make each other better lovers. Okay, that definitely didn't sound like it was in the vein of constructive criticism, but I will continue nonetheless.
Okay, I don't think ditching me is the most constructive approach. Well,
it solved the problem, didn't it? It's quite simple, Watson.
Well, there's no need to be antsy. We have our wits. We just have to focus on being constructive.